They're so small already. All right, thanks, Elizabeth. A Missouri judge has had it with lawbreakers disrespecting the court, but instead of sending them to jail, he's sending repeat offenders to the corner of shame. Joining us right now from St. Louis is Judge Richard Skouby. Good morning to you, Judge.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So, people who simply would not show up in court, would not pay their fines, that really bugged you, didn't it?
Well, contempt of court is my power to force people to do and comply with my orders. And when they didn't do that, my choice is either an additional fine, which wasn't seeming to work,
right,
or incarceration, which is pretty severe. And so I came up with this tool and the policy that, hey, if you don't come to court, you don't pay your fines, and it's usually a combination of both, you can have the option of, instead of fines or jail, you can have the option of wearing the sign.
Okay, and we've got an image of a guy who's actually wearing the sign there in Missouri, and what it says is, won't come to court, won't pay my fine, so Judge Skouby ordered me to hold this sign. It rhymes. Was that your prose on that?
It was, but I don't think I intended it to come out exactly like that. This isn't a laughing matter. I mean, it's very serious. Without judicial orders being followed, the law is only words. And it's my responsibility to make sure that people not only respect but follow court's orders. And I take that very seriously. And it seemed to me like there was quite a few of them who weren't taking it seriously.
Well, absolutely.
But I think I have their attention now.
No kidding. So now, I would imagine when somebody gets an order, you got to show up in Judge Skouby's courtroom. They show up, don't they?
The information I'm receiving from the police department and from the general consensus after court was nobody wants to wear the sign. Certainly they prefer that over going to jail.
Sure.
And I don't want to make somebody who's a nonviolent offender lose their job. But I do want to remind them that, and it's my responsibility to remind them, you're not supposed to do this again.
That's right. It's the law. You got to follow the law. Judge, what's the reaction been from your town?
Kind of mixed. I think a lot of people like it. Some people strongly dislike it. But I'm not running a public opinion poll. I have a job to do. My job is to foster and reinforce respect for the judicial system, and that's what I intend to do.
So far, just the one guy holding the sign has stood there on the shame corner. How many other people are potentially going to wind up holding it there in your town?
Well, like I said, the promise of complying has greatly increased since the first gentleman had to wear the sign. It is a problem that potentially could affect, right now on my docket, maybe 25 people. And that number rotates. I mean, we do roughly 75 to 100 tickets a month, and you know, the number of people who don't pay their fines just keeps getting larger, and that creates a big burden on our court clerk. It almost doubles her work. But I mean, I'm not here to save the taxpayers' money. It's good when I can, but the lack of respect is what concerns me the most. We live in a country where we were all raised to believe in this, but it seems like it's kind of gotten lost in late times.
You know what? You're exactly right, Judge. And you're doing something to try to get people's attention. Pay your fine, come to court. It's what you're supposed to do. That's why they call it the law. We'd love to have folks weigh in on our Facebook page. We're asking, is this fine or is it over the line? Judge Skouby, thank you very much. And thanks for joining us today from your town out in Missouri.
Thanks, Steve.
You betcha.